How does a business generate revenue? Well, you sell stuff. I mean, I'm telling the creative team, okay, I'm done. That's all. Just go sell stuff. No, I'm kidding. So a couple of things we're going to talk about and how do you generate revenue? Because without revenue, even over time, and you have about 3 years with the IRS to get it done, or at least show some legal intent to getting it done. Some businesses take a little longer to get to revenue. But let's talk about the top 3 ways to get to revenue and fast. I'm going to add in some what I call fast cash tips because I believe today every one of you could make money in the next hour if you had the right tool belt. Number 2, what's the most common revenue mistakes that are made by businesses and why they sometimes never get off the ground? And number 3, how to build a revenue system, a cash flow process that can create generous income and reliable income for a long, long part of your career. So overall, how does a business generate revenue? It solves a problem, right? Every great entrepreneur solves a problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the revenue you're going to have. So if you look at some of the biggest technology stacks and the biggest technology companies, it's why they're solving, worldwide problems. So Apple and Microsoft were the first to the field and still today just thriving. So revenue is created by either getting new customers, reoccurring revenue from current customers, increasing products or services, and higher prices. So there's a variety of all of that during your growth into a business, you'll be able to accelerate. The other one that I'm not going to talk about a lot in this video, but you can go to the playlist and look at multiple streams of income. And I have a whole bunch of other ways to talk about money, fast cash. What do I mean by that? But another one is just to do multiple streams, which is add on very specific things to your current revenue. So for example, in real estate, the amount of people who can't figure out cash flow in real estate is fascinating to me because right adjacent to buying a piece of property or building a piece of property or rehabbing a piece of property, why don't you own the construction or the handyman business, the cleaning, the hauling, the landscaping, right? Be a distributor of the products that you're putting in. Be a distributor of the windows. I mean, we've been distributors of those wood burning stove. We've been a distributor of the actual, block instead of wood that builds the entire building. So it depends on what you are doing. Like you're paying somebody else to do a lot of these things that are very linked together. Be a part of all of that cash flow and you will win big. So inside the Cash Machine for Life, I give you 1,000 cash machine ideas and those ancillary and very descriptive and distinct ways that you can increase your prices, increase your offers, solve bigger problems for the people that you're serving. So the problem I solve is financial literacy and the conversation about money. So mostly they don't come up with an offer. See, I believe, and I truly believe this, that within an hour, every one of you could make money if you knew how to take your skill sets and transfer it into a monetized offer. There are so many of you, from nurses to copy editors to web designers. I mean, there's so many things you could stack immediately on to another offer. So the bigger the offer, the better the offer, not necessarily the price, but it's solving the problem that people have. So one of the first things that I have a lot of our clients do when they don't know what the offer should be is do a survey on social media. My name is Loral. I'm a money expert. I'm going to come live and I want to talk about real estate. And this is actually a true statement is what conversations do you want us to have about real estate? What do you want to learn given we're in 2026, where AI is? What strategy? I mean, do you want to do fix and flips? Do you want to do commercial? What do you want to do? And then based on the survey, we produce the content. Now, your fastest path to cash is right here, right? Every one of you could trade your time for money today in the next hour, right? So if you're a teacher, you could give a 20-minute conversation or consultation on how to accelerate, say, your gifted or talented child, or how to help your special needs child. Like you literally, if you knew how to monetize the offer, put a price on it, say for 20 minutes, I'm going to teach you X. You see it all over the internet. There's so many think of the health category, how many diets and different exercise programs. And for $20, you get this. And for $30, you get this. Now, the internet is a little, I'm going to say, not risky, not the word I want to use, but it's a little less certain because you could put out an offer and nobody will respond. What is your most certain is to pick this up and text 20 people that you know, say, hi, this is Loral. I'm the money expert, blah, blah, blah. And you give an offer. right? So I'm teaching people how to make money very quickly. For 20 minutes, for $20, I can be on a phone call and help you come up with your fastest path to making some money and start collecting $20, $20, $20. You say, well, that's not a lot of money. It's money you've never been able to make. Now, you can always expand on that offer and make it more automated. But today, every one of you could do something. I have some dietitians and nutritionists who actually are distributors of appliances that they use to cook. Say, I have one that does all French cooking. So that's a little more difficult to get those kind of appliances. He distributes them. So he'll sell you a recipe. He'll modify the recipe without gluten or any food issues. And he sells you the very appliances and everything you need to actually have that meal done. There are so many ways you can make money. It's up to you that you need to do it and do it quick. Again, the biggest mistake is most people can't come up with the offer. They can't come up with the price. And the biggest mistake is they don't follow up. They put out an offer, people want something, and it takes days and days, not minutes, to get back to them. Because if somebody is not fulfilled and they're looking for something, they're going to keep looking around this lovely place called the bathroom wall, I call that the internet, until they're fulfilled. So you're going to miss the offer unless you are aggressively following up and have a very, very specific technical stack that creates text follow-ups, email follow-ups, immediate follow-ups, and then calls to action to do something different. You can tell I love this conversation. I want to make sure you grab my Cash Machine book. You can go get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of the bookstores is still there. I'm going to give you the first 3 chapters right now so you can grab that. So before I talk about other ways to generate quick revenue streams, I want you to subscribe to this channel, click the notification button. So every day, 5 days a week, you have a new message about business, money, finance, legacy, any of those topics. So I'm going to give you a very predictable system. So get a pen and paper. So number 1, you have to create an offer. What is your offer? And define your core offer clearly. So typically it's either one of my books. It's very easy. I can go from any one of my 6 books. I can also just say, which I'm going to say to you now, go to askloral.com. Ask a question, make a request. It's the easiest way to find out what do people want. They're going to ask me questions in the category of what they want. So get an offer and create a very simple sales pipeline. So once you get a follower from, again, the social media, you want to move them into a database. And if you don't know how to move someone into a database so you can actually monetize the client, go to askrms.com. ASKRMS stands for Rapid Marketing Systems. And we'll have the technical stack that can immediately follow up. So when they click on something, they click on an ad, they click on an offer, it immediately gives them a thank you page, gives them the next call to action, a complete follow-up sequence. Once you have the follow-up sequence, anything over, say, $1,000, you're probably going to have to pick up the phone. So I want to give you 2 tickets to my Millionaire Intensive where you can come and learn how to be in a marketplace. How do you give an offer? How do you do what I call an ask, tell, ask? In simple forms, you're going to ask them what's the problem. You're going to tell them why you're the solution. You're going to ask them for some money. It's not difficult. It's just different. And so many of you have been taught very weird, I'm going to say manipulative ways around sales. Like selling is serving. You're just going to help solve their problem. And when you use that tone and don't have a sales tone, you're going to win bigger. Make sure you have a accounting system, a good bookkeeping system. One of the things that's coming up is a course called Finance for Non-Finance Business Owners, because most of you don't understand the finance. And you think I'm going to pay every bill first in, first out. That is not how cash flow works. So that is saved for another day. But again, if you have any questions, go to Ask Loral and let us help you build a cash machine, get it to revenue like that. One of the funnest reality shows I think that I've always loved to put on and would do is train all of you to pieces, which is going to take a few hours. That's it. And you're going to learn that at the Millionaire Intensive. You have an offer, you start doing some ask, tell, ask, and you get to revenue within an hour. You can put me anywhere in the world as long as I have this Google Translate with any language in the world, and I'd make money in an hour. I can almost guarantee it. It would be fun. So go to Ask Loral, ask questions, make requests, grab my book. Let's build a plan. Let's get you to cash flow. We'll talk tomorrow.